What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today we're going to be doing a review on Trigger Devils. I'll be talking about what they are, how they work, what they do for you, as well as my thoughts and opinions after using them for several gaming sessions. I want to be very clear up front here, I'm not affiliated with Trigger Devils in any way. I don't have an affiliate code, this is not a paid review. Basically, I ran into them at PAX, they gave me a few free products to review, and that's it. They said, here you go, try these out, if you want to do a review on them, that's great. And that's the end of it. So I'm not being paid to do this at all, aside from just the regular advertising revenue that I have on every single one of my videos. So first up, let's look at what Trigger Devils actually are. They're a very simple product, just like basically a piece of plastic that's custom molded to fit on the trigger of your controller. They have them for both Xbox One as well as PS4, and they are just designed for your right trigger. Because what they do is they act as trigger stops. So they just basically stick on top of the trigger itself. I'll show you guys how to install them in a second here. And they act as a trigger stop, and they also give you just a slightly different feel of a grip on the actual trigger itself with your finger. Now, just in case you guys aren't aware, what trigger stops are designed to do is they stop the trigger from going all the way down, because in a first-person shooter, especially with semi-auto guns, if you're pulling that trigger all the way to the bottom, you're actually just wasting time, because the gun will go off about like halfway or so pulling that trigger, so anything after that is just wasted time. So the whole idea behind trigger stops is they stop you just after the gun goes off so that you're not wasting that time, and therefore you can fire semi-auto guns faster. So this is great for first-person shooters, but you do start running into some issues when you play like racing games, for instance, because those require you to pull the trigger all the way down because it's usually your throttle. And if you can't pull it all the way down, then you can never go full throttle and you're going to absolutely suck at racing games. So that's one thing to keep in mind with these is they are designed for first-person shooters. They're not designed for like racing games, for instance. So the way to install them is actually very simple. They are just a piece of plastic, and then they come with little strips of 3M double-sided like tape foam type stuff. So all you have to do is put that double-sided stuff inside the Trigger Devil itself, peel off the backing, and then you just want to press firmly onto your trigger. You want to make sure you get to the right spot on your trigger as well. You want to feel that out a little bit first. To make sure you find the right spot. But once you find that right spot, you take off the backing and you just basically stick it onto your trigger. You want to make sure you press nice and firmly to get it in place, and then it's there. And it starts acting immediately, like it just starts working. The nice thing about them is if you decide you don't like them, you can always pop them off. There's no actual damage or modification made to the controller itself. It simply sticks on top of the existing controller. So they can easily be removed and put back on. Just realize if you do remove them, you're going to have to use a new strip of that 3M stuff. And it does come with some extra 3M, but if you keep pulling it off and on, you're going to have to buy some of that stuff for yourself because you will run out eventually. So it is more so designed to be like something that you stick on and you just leave it on your controller pretty much all the time. So that's pretty much it. I like to compare it somewhat to Control Freaks. It's a very simple product, and it doesn't actually modify your controller in any way. It just kind of sticks on top. Yet it's going to be very helpful for a lot of people. As far as I'm aware, this is the least expensive way to add a trigger stop to your controller without doing any actual modifications and like drilling holes in it, for instance. So that's a really nice thing about these Trigger Devils. As for my thoughts after playing with them for several gaming sessions, which I think is required when you change anything up with your controller, I definitely recommend giving it several gaming sessions before you make any sort of decisions. Same thing goes with Control Freaks, because we get that muscle memory with the controllers and we're used to what we're used to, and as soon as you change something up, it feels weird. It definitely is always going to feel weird at first. So if you do get these, make sure you give them an honest go. Play with them for several gaming sessions. I would say like at least like 10 hours of gaming or something like that. And then you'll start to get a feel for them. Then you can make your mind up from there. But after playing with them for those several gaming sessions, like I said, I can see how they would help a lot of people. Now, for those of you that have been around my channel for a long time, you'll probably know that I have a pretty good trigger finger, and that's with or without trigger stops. I have trigger stops in my SCUF controller as well, and I really don't notice a difference in my fire rate with semi-auto guns with or without trigger stops, because I can normally reach that maximum fire rate without trigger stops themselves. So for me personally, while using them, I didn't notice any difference in my fire rate, but I realized that I am a little bit different to a lot of the people that are unable to reach that maximum fire rate with semi-autos. So therefore, it might be something that helps you a whole lot more than it helped me, because I really didn't notice a difference in that particular area. As for the comfort factor, On the Xbox One especially, I found it to be very comfortable. It kind of locked your finger in place, so your finger didn't slide around at all. And it definitely gives you a different angle and a different feel. And for some people, that's going to be very, very comfortable. On the PS4, on the other hand, I had a little bit of an issue. And this, I think, just comes down to the shape of the trigger itself on the controller. And it makes it kind of hard to have something that attaches properly. But to me, I couldn't get a perfect fit with the Trigger Devil on the PS4 controller. There was always a little bit of a wiggle, no matter how hard I tried and how many times I tried to reinstall the Trigger Devil. There was always a little bit of a side-to-side wiggle. Now, it wasn't to the point where I felt like the Trigger Devil was going to pop off mid-game or anything. It just kind of felt weird that my finger would move back and forth and this whole Trigger Devil would move a little bit. On the Xbox, it didn't move at all, but on the PS4, it did. So for the Xbox, like I said, I have a SCUF controller that already has a trigger stop in it, and not that I really need a trigger stop in the first place, but it is kind of redundant to have a Trigger Devil when you already have like an internal trigger stop mechanism. So I won't be using it on the Xbox, and since it was wiggling around quite a bit on the PS4, combined with the fact that trigger stops don't really do anything for me, I'm not going to be using Trigger Devils on the PS4 either. This isn't to say that I think the product is bad or anything, it's just not a product that really helps me. Now, the final thing I want to talk about is the price point. And this is an area where I have a little bit of an issue with Trigger Devils. The price point is set at $17 for a single Trigger Devil, and then it comes with a bunch of extra 3M squares. And to me, that is just a little bit on the pricey side. Now, I realize with products like this, and Control Freaks for instance, you're not necessarily paying based on what it costs to make them. It's more so you pay for what value it gives you. So with these sorts of products, I do expect a pretty big markup, but not to the extent of these Trigger Devils. I think $17 is definitely on the pricey side for these, and I kind of base this on a comparison with Control Freaks. I know they don't do the same thing, but they are a similar sort of product, where they're very cheap to manufacture, or at least I assume they're quite cheap to manufacture, but they do provide pretty good value for you. But if you compare Control Freaks versus Trigger Devils here, Control Freaks you're looking at, for the average set of Control Freaks, which comes in a pair by the way, it's around $15 or so. For a single Trigger Devil, I think $17 is definitely a little bit on the pricey side. Now, one thing to consider with this is there are tons of discount codes out there. There's lots of affiliates of Trigger Devils, and you can go and get like 5% off, or you might even be able to find a better discount code somewhere. So just use Google if you are interested in getting these, and I'm sure you can get a better price than $17, but I still feel like it is definitely a little on the high side. Now, like I said at the beginning, I am not affiliated, so I don't have an affiliate code for you or anything, and that's just because I'm never going to take a sponsorship from a product that I don't actually use on a daily basis myself. So I don't have a code, but like I said, just search Google, you'll be able to find one, no problem. So that's going to wrap it up for today's review of Trigger Devils. The product itself is solid, I love the idea behind it, but for me personally, it didn't really do much to help my game. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.